Hey, thanks for joining me today. This is David Rippy. I am a certified hypnotherapist. This particular client came to me for a past life regression. And a past life regression, for those that don't know, is where I take someone into a deep hypnotic state where they can recall details of a previous life. She recounted a very interesting life as a Native American living with a tribe in the 1700s. She was proficient at making herbal remedies. And during the regression, she shared how it was nice and peaceful life, just living in nature and raising 3 beautiful children. She takes us to the moment of her death and shares who was with her in the tent as her spirit hovered above. She also takes us back where she rejoined nature in the woods and became a part of everything. The wildest thing was how she shared how you could see her children as they grew older and played in the woods from every tree at once. Please leave comments and subscribe to my channel at David Rippy, as there'll be more to follow. Enjoy. As we count down to 3, a little bit deeper this time, a little bit more relaxed, hearing my voice and staying awake, letting go of everything as you float along. As you float along, not falling asleep, but hearing clearly my words. Not letting the word choices bother you, just kind of going with the flow, knowing what it means. Feel it in your mind as you're moving around. And we count down to 1. Your bubble, a golden bubble, with you floating in it, is floating over fields now. We almost look down, we can see some fields and trees. Relaxed, enjoying the ride as we just float along in our bubble. And noticing the fields below us, some trees in the distance, the sun coming through and keeping us warm in our bubble. We'll start to move up and approach a town or a city in the distance. And as we lay in our bubble, our eyes closed, visualizing the fields and trees below us as we float gently along, getting closer and closer to this city, then in our minds, we start to remember and see in a different way. We see how it was when we were there at another time. Another time. So relaxed. And we don't have to go right up to the city yet. We can stop a mile or 2 away from its borders as we kind of think back to ourselves, hearing my voice, and starting to visualize in our mind's eye this place and this city that we're observing and we're moving towards. As we let that image build in our minds. When you see it or think you might know what it is or where it is or when you knew this place, I want you just to share with me what you see. Do you see the city or town?
It's not a town or city, it's a village.
Okay. And what kind of structures are in this village? Can you
They
look
have
over?
thatched roofs. They're simply built, they're not very durable.
Do you see people around the village?
Yes.
Okay. And what are some of them doing?
Cooking over fires and sharpening tools.
Are they sharpening tools to hunt or for
For hunting.
Okay. And can you describe some outfits you might be seeing them wear?
Looks like leather, but suede. Like an animal skin.
Okay. Now, while we're floating in the bubble, just taking it in, you're going to be an observer, and you can step out of your bubble anytime you want and go down closer and look, or just drift over. Whatever you prefer, you're safe, and you can leave your bubble for a little bit like a spaceship and kind of walk among the people, and they won't be able to see you. But as an observer, are you from this village?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do in the village? Do you know your job or what you like to do?
I weave.
Okay. And what do you weave?
I weave mats and patches for the roofs.
And how old do you think you are right now in this, roughly?
17, 18.
So can you see yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you wearing?
A dress. It's made out of animal hide. And I have a pouch hanging off my one shoulder.
Okay. And what do you keep in your pouch?
Herbs and a knife and tools.
Okay. And what color is your hair? How long is it?
It's dark brown, almost black. It's long. I wear it in a braid down my back.
Okay. And do you know your name?
Kinawa.
Okay. And can you say that one more time, please?
My name was something else. It was longer than that, but Kinawa was my nickname.
Okay. And can you see the first letter if it was printed on a piece of paper?
I don't know how to write it.
Okay. Because it's in a whole different language, right?
I don't write.
Okay, so you don't know how to write your name. I understand. Well, it's a pretty name. Does it mean anything in particular in your tribe or your village?
It means the part of the flower just before it starts to bloom.
Okay. Now, do you have one name, or do you have two names or more?
You have your given name that you're born with, and then some people have a nickname based on their personality or their physical appearance, and you have a name that you take if you marry.
Okay. Now, are you close to marrying, or are you already married?
I'm married.
Okay. And what is your husband's name?
Achuli.
Okay, say that one more time.
His name is Achuli.
Achuli. Okay. And what does that mean?
The translation is not exact, but it means someone who is sturdy, someone who's not moved easily. Stubborn, I think is the word.
Okay. So a pretty solid, sturdy guy overall.
Yeah.
Do you have children?
Yeah, we do.
And how many children?
There are 4.
Good. And can you give me a little info on them, their names or how old they are? Boy or girl?
My oldest is a boy. There's another boy and a baby girl.
So 2 boys and a baby girl. Do you have an older daughter, though, than the baby?
No, I lost a baby. I lost a baby recently.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So you have 3 surviving babies, at least now with the 1 baby, right?
Yeah, she's almost a year old.
Okay. So sadly, you and Julie lost a child not that long ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. But remember, you're just observing that life as you remember. And what does your husband do for work?
He's a hunter, and he trades the animal skins and the meats with other men in other villages.
And what kind of meat or animals does he get a chance to kill in your area?
Looks like deer and sometimes bear.
Okay. Now, where the village is it near another village? Is there another one close by or farther away? Or give me some idea about that.
The woods surround a great portion of our village, and on the other side of the woods is a stream that widens to a river, and on the other side there's another village.
Over by the river.
Yes.
Do you catch fish as well at your village?
Yes.
And what kind of fish? Do you know the names or what they look like? If we had to compare them to today's fish.
Well, they're very big, but the name trout.
Okay.
Trout.
And how do you say that in your language?
It's a silly word.
You see what it starts with roughly?
Chia fish.
So is it almost like tia fish?
Chia.
Oh, tia. Okay. Do you know how to say bear too? How would you see bear if you had to see it in your mind? Or what would it sound like?
Sinka.
Okay. And how about deer? Do you know what the name is in your language for deer?
Unseen. Unsink.
Is it a longer word? Just take your time and see if you can hear it in your ears.
Unsinka.
Onsinka. Is that close?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your name again?
Akina.
And say that one more time, please.
Akina.
Okay. And your husband's name?
Julie.
Okay. And do you remember your children's name, the 3 that survived? What did you name the baby?
don't recall their names.
Okay. So maybe it was later. Who knows, right? So as we're in the village, I want you to now go deeper and deeper with me. So your mind clears even more. And you see the village right there in front of you as plain as day. And the people working as you observe as they're moving around. You might even see yourself working while you're observing. And maybe you see your husband coming in and out of the thatched wigwam you're living in. And can you see while you look around, do they hunt on foot or horseback?
They hunt on foot, but there are horses that other men have brought in from trades.
So they hunt on foot mostly, but there's some few horses that they traded for. What they trade for?
They traded with other men.
Okay. For horses
For
for
bear skins,
Okay.
for pelts.
Now, did your husband, Achuli, ever kill a bear?
Yeah, he killed 3.
3 bears. Did he keep the claws as well as the bear skins?
He kept 1 claw from each bear.
Okay. And did you eat the meat?
We did.
And how do you make it? How does it taste? Pretty good.
It has a heavy taste, but very good for your body.
Okay. What'd you do in did you have pots, like a big iron pot, or what did you cook in? Did you wrap it in something, or how did you cook bear?
Mostly over a fire in a enameled clay, not bowl bigger than that.
Now, did your village make the bowls?
No, we traded for them.
Okay. And they had enamel even on the outside or something, some of them?
It was a glaze of some sort.
Okay. Well, so they glazed the clay bowls, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that cooked the bear pretty well on the fire? Didn't get too hot and break or anything?
Oh, you cut it up. You don't cook it in one solid piece.
Okay. And how did you get was there any guns in the village, or was it just, did you guys trade for guns too, or not?
No, we don't have guns.
Okay. So no guns, but do you use rock arrowheads on the end of arrows? Did you have bows and arrows or just spears?
Spears, and some people had bows.
Okay. Now, did you make the sharp ends from rocks that were near you, or how'd you do that?
Yeah, from sharp stones.
Okay. And then you chip them and I presume you would make them that way, right? And then put them on?
You can grind them against other rocks.
Okay. So 3 bears. Were you real proud of your husband at that point?
Yes, we were a very good match.
And you had, and when he got the bears, everybody had plenty to eat. Did you share some with other village members?
The whole village ate.
So the whole village would share in whatever meat came in, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you have? Was there a lot of rain, or did you go through periods that were pretty dry sometimes?
No, it would be very cold.
It would get very cold?
Winters were cold.
Okay. Did you grow anything outside to eat, or not?
No, not really.
So you would get what? Out of the woods, or meat mostly, or what did you guys live on? What did you eat?
There would be meat and berries and nuts when we could find them, and fish.
Trout. And I'm going to ask you again, if you can just kind of think in your mind that fish. And how did you say trout again, or fish in your language? like maybe some child or somebody's running up to the riverbank screaming whatever that word was, showing that he had fish. See if you see that.
Achia. Achi.
Okay. Take your time. Tell me again. And it doesn't have to be perfect. How would you say it? Because I'm sure it's not easy.
Ashia.
Okay. Okay, that's good. It's not an easy language. How do you say? Go ahead. Sorry. Say it as many times as you want. Okay, let your throat just relax. Just kind of relax. So you feel yourself in the village. And you were married. And you and your husband, what's his name again?
Actually,
And was it a good marriage, you said?
we're very happy.
Well, that's good. You have 3 bears and 3 children. Well, as you're relaxing, thinking about that life, and you were 17 then, do you see yourself getting older as the years progress, and do you stay in the same place, or do you move somewhere else?
We stay there, and right.
It's okay. You're only observing. What do you see?
A war with other tribes,
Okay.
with another tribe.
Okay, then what happened? And before you go, we go that far to see what happened. I want you to come back with me to the village for a moment while you're making your rugs or your mats. And what you can do is gently swallow. Gently swallow. It's not unusual for a little saliva to build in your throat while you do this. So just kind of nicely, really lightly just swallow. It's real normal. Now as you're making mats, we'll go back to a better time before the war. And as you're seeing your children in a chuli and you're making mats, how do they describe the country you're in? What is it? What do they call it?
I've never heard its name.
So if you had to think of a map right now and try to picture that place on some map or some country or city, going forward to today, do you see where that might be?
I think it's in Virginia.
Okay.
West Virginia, maybe.
So do you see like the word Virginia in your mind? Is that why? Or does it just feel like that?
The name is familiar.
Okay. And as you think back at 17, and we saw like just a calendars floating by us in our minds, what year was that roughly, do you think? What century?
Eighteen 1801.
So you think it was about 1801?
17 1781. 1781.
So 1781, okay? And you feel you're in Virginia or West Virginia. When you think about it for a moment, which one do you think it is?
It's probably Southern Virginia.
Sort of Southern Virginia, maybe, in that area?
Yeah.
Somewhere down there. Did you ever, what color is your skin?
It's dark.
Okay. Now, if Did you ever see settlers, like people with white skin?
I heard about them and I saw one time.
Okay, you saw one time.
There were men that came to trade in our village and they brought a white man with them.
Okay. And they were from another village to trade, and they brought him with them. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes.
Did he seem like a nice guy, or were you a little scared of him, or what were your thoughts?
A woman, an oracle from our village, told of his coming, and she said that it was a bad omen.
Okay. And was the oracle? Can you just let's talk about her for a moment. Was she older, or what was her deal?
She was older than me, but I wouldn't say she was old.
Okay. But she was pretty good at seeing things in prophecy?
Yes, she had foretold of many things.
That's interesting. Did she wear her hair like you?
Yes, but when she was performing ceremonies, she would take it out of her braids.
And did she have, I presume, dark skin as well, correct?
Yes, and very light eyes.
And that was something that kind of set her apart from other people in the village?
They say that it was the mark of her gift.
And what color were they? Like light blue or green or amber? Or what color do you think they were?
No, almost gray. Like soot.
And was she pretty?
In an odd sort of way, like her face didn't match itself or something. There was something out of place.
Did you think she was from your tribe, or like, who was she born to? Was anybody in your village, or did she just show up, or how'd that work?
She was supposed to have been an orphan from a young age.
So
she grew up in the village, but she was taken in by a midwife. One of the midwives was the one who noticed her gift.
Okay. But she came in as an orphan, just kind of stumbled out of the woods?
I don't remember where she came from. She was
Okay.
just always known to have been orphaned.
But she was very good at prophecy.
She was.
And what was her name?
Shesha.
Shesa.
Shesha.
Was that her only name?
It was the only name that I ever knew her by.
Okay. Did she seem like different from most people in the tribe? Like not only gifted, but as some special person that came in to help your village?
She was chosen for that purpose.
Okay. Now, besides that, did she do anything with medicine or herbs, or besides prophecy? Did she have any other gifts?
She was a healer.
So she could help heal people in the village.
She was a healer.
Okay. Would she put their hands on them, or just do all sorts of different things?
She would use different herbs and bones. She would burn things. Say prayers.
And who would she pray to?
To the Great Spirit.
So you knew there was a great spirit.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, a Great Spirit.
Did he have other spirits that help him? Or is that you just knew of one?
The Spirit exists in everything. So it is all things everywhere.
And that's what your tribe believed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever find yourself praying the Great Spirit to bring something into your life?
I did the prayers that I was supposed to.
Okay. Were you angry with Great Spirit when your child died?
No, I was not angry.
You were what?
No, I was not angry.
Why? Because you felt it was what, supposed to be, or what?
No, I was just sad.
Okay. Was it not unusual in your village to lose children to various things, or not? Was it pretty common for every family to like maybe lose one or two or something?
My final pregnancy had been a difficult one, and my midwife had warned me that I might not be able to have many more children.
Okay. And the midwife, did the Seisha work with her, or did they have more than one midwife in the tribe or village?
There was the midwife. There was usually a girl apprenticing or training with her. But Seisha was at every birth so that she could bless the child.
And looking at that, how interesting is that? And as you let your mind kind of take in the things and just getting more and more information, can you tell me what year you think it was again?
1781.
Okay. And you're somewhere, did you say Southern Virginia? Or what are your thoughts on that, based on kind of what you've been told or whatever?
It's southern, but in higher altitude or high elevation.
Okay, so you're not in a valley or flat land.
No.
Okay. Can you describe the terrain, the kind of woods? What kind of trees are around you in your woods? I know you got more than one, but what seems to be the most predominant couple?
There are many oak trees.
Okay. Do you live on a mountain range or on the side of a valley, or how does it look when they describe it in the village?
There are many hills. It's the base of a larger hill.
Okay. So now do you live on top of the hill or on the side of it, or what?
Towards the center, towards the bottom.
The center of the hill, but sort of near the bottom. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do they call that river near you? What's the name of that? Do you know? How do they say it in your language or other languages?
I don't know the name.
So is it okay? So it's not. What do they just call it? Great River or something, or what do they refer to it as?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay. So maybe it didn't have a name. Do you remember how they said, "I'm going to the river"? Like what word they used for river or water?
I can't make the sound.
Okay. It's okay. Now let's go forward a little bit in time. Everything's going well in the village, and all of a sudden another village is, tell me what happened to cause a war. Go ahead.
The story has been changed, but men who came to trade, well, they traded, but they stole children. They stole children from our village and sold them.
Oh, that's terrible. And how was that, the village near the river, or was that a different village?
A village from the other side of the river, but not the closest to us.
Okay. So they stole children, and who did they sell them to?
They sold them to other tribes, and then to other, not other tribes, to other tribes of men, of men that came that didn't belong there.
And what color were these men? What color were they? Where were
I
they?
never saw them.
So you never saw the men?
I never saw what happened to those children. We only heard these stories, and that's what made them go to war.
So
Children disappeared, and that was.
And it was soon after they left. Is that correct, or right then?
Well, children would go wandering, and children would go on spirit journeys, and it wasn't uncommon for children to not come home right away, but they were missing. We didn't know where they were.
And when they sent men out into the woods, they couldn't find them.
They didn't find any remains to suggest an animal had attacked or killed them. They didn't find any trace.
Were some of the men rumored to be like not of Indian tribes, or were they all of Indian tribes that came, do you think?
The rumor was that they were sold to the white men who were coming on the river.
And they were coming up the river.
On the river.
They were coming on the river. Were they in some type of boat, or what kind of craft were they in? Were they on horses or boats, or how did they get close to you guys?
I guess they would have come on a boat, but I never saw it.
Never saw the boat. How far, if you had to say you had to walk it, and you were not walking walking like an average pace, how far was the river from your village? How long would it take to get there?
About an hour.
So about an hour walking, roughly.
Depending on if the weather was good.
Yeah, now tell me about that weather again. You said how long of a year was it snowy or cold?
I felt like it was cold most of the time. But the summer, when the weather would soften, would be nice. It would be sunny.
And how long would that last? Do you remember roughly? If you had to look at the whole year.
3 months, 4 months, 3 months.
And then it would be gone again. Is that correct?
That would be cold.
Yep. So if you had to look at a map, how high do you think you were? 1,000 feet?
I don't know.
Okay. But it was high enough that you could see across into other mountains out in the distance, or not?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was it, how did you like your village? Was it pretty or what?
Yes, it was the only home I ever knew.
Okay. So when you went to war, because the missing children weren't showing up,
They stole our children.
how many did they steal? One of your children?
They stole my daughter.
The baby.
They stole her.
Oh, all right. I want you to distance her. And she was what? How old again?
She was a year old.
And what was her name? Do you remember?
Chichka?
Okay.
Something about her.
Well, let's move on and go forward. And looking at that tribe, that village, were you part of a much bigger tribe? Or how many villages did they say you were a part of that was like some common ground or something? Was there a certain tribal name that you were known by?
I don't remember the name of my people.
Was there more than just your village? Or was other villages that had the same beliefs as your village?
I think so, but we were alone. It felt like we were alone where we were. We were isolated.
Okay. And how many people, say before the children were missing, how many people were in your village roughly? Do you remember? Like how many wigwams and all that?
Maybe over 1,000.
So it was a pretty nice sized village, I presume.
Yes.
And how was it broken down? Was it almost an equal number of men and women, or more men or more women? What did that number look like?
No, there were a lot of men.
More men than women?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have just one husband, or did sometimes there was more than one husband?
No, just one.
So there wasn't any like two women per husband?
No.
Okay. Now looking at the war, we want to go on past that. How long did the war last roughly?
Many months.
And did both sides attack each other, or did your group go over first, or who was, when the babies were missing, then what happened? Just kind of give me a thing. I know you said the story was changed, but just give me a quick version of what it looked like.
Julie and our leaders went to the tribe, and we attacked them first. We killed some of their men and wounded others, and then they burned our village.
Did Julie survive the war, or what happened to Julie and you? Tell me Julie first. Did he survive the war?
No one survived.
So, after they burnt the village, they came back, burnt the village. Did they kill everybody in the village?
They killed everybody.
Okay, so now we're just going to observe quietly. Do you see, and what was your name again?
Akinoa.
Okay. So we don't want to get too wrapped up emotionally. We're just observing, that's all. Just kind of stepping back, don't get involved. And I want you to tell me, how did you pass away? What happened?
I was trapped. I burned alive.
So you were trapped inside your wigwam, is that correct?
The roof fell in.
After they set it on fire?
Yes.
And how long do you see, let me ask you this, just real lightly. After the roof fell in, and I presume it was painful for a while, is that true?
Yes.
And then how long did it take till you saw yourself standing outside, or standing in the wigwam looking at your body? How long did that take?
I never experienced that. I remember the pain, and then I remember when the pain disappeared and I felt nothing.
And was anybody there when you felt nothing?
No, it was like a disintegrating sort of feeling.
Okay.
But there was this feeling of warmth and a peacefulness, like a quiet forest at night.
So that's how you felt after you passed away, is that correct?
Yes, my spirit became part of everything.
So you felt your spirit, like you said, and you used the word disintegrate. So did it feel like when you passed away and felt this warmth, and this relaxation, sort of this lack of stress, did you feel your spirit, did it feel like you said it just separated into everything around you?
Yes, like blowing dust.
Okay. Now after it was flowing dust, and you look at that and realize you're going back to Mother Earth, as I'm sure your religion believed, and as you went back to Mother Earth and felt yourself scattering among everything, did you see like little pieces of you in a sense, like burying in the trees and the plants? Did you go inside them?
I don't remember any of that. I just remember being a part of everything.
A part of everything. Okay. So after you were a part of everything, and you were in this state of being a part of everything, then what happened?
That was what I remember.
And that's so you don't remember that there was something more past being part of everything?
No.
Okay, that's okay. Well, that's good. And then you think it was about 1780, but you don't see yourself maybe coming back again, like after that war. Do you feel you're, like all of a sudden I became someone else after the war eventually and woke up again?
My spirit became part of everything. So in a way, it was always there and it came back all the time.
Okay.
But I don't believe I was another person entirely.
Okay. Well, let's leave that life now and let that sort of drift away as we go, put that memory to bed and kind of forgetting about that memory as we're back in our bubble and we're floating back above past the village over some mountain ranges. Are you in your bubble now?
Yes.
So I want you just to float along past the village in that life, putting that behind you as we go forward, looking ahead or looking behind us, maybe into an earlier life. Still floating over forest and plains and mountains and streams and basically whatever comes into our mind. So as you float along, exiting that life and moving on past, I want you to keep drifting along in your bubble, putting all that past behind you, moving forward. And as you move forward, still in your safe protective bubble, just floating along, the sun rays coming down, the golden light enveloping you of love and divine love, filling your whole body again with all this beautiful light, letting all the thoughts of what we just discussed exit your mind as you float along in the bubble, just hearing my voice. And as we move along in the bubble, we're going to keep going along and moving along. And as you just let your mind's eye take in the sights, going slowly along, way past that life, on to other ventures. And as we keep going, floating along our mind's eye, leaving all that behind, we're going to look forward. And as we look forward, we're going to start to see some place where people live again in our minds. A different place and a different life. As we move along. And as you just float along in your mind's eye, I want you to describe what you see now in your own words. See anything?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you don't see anything?
No.
It's okay. That's all right. So let's stay in our bubble, okay? And we'll just keep our eyes closed and we'll just feel ourselves in the bubble, very relaxed. No concerns, just so relaxed. Hearing my voice, that you stay so relaxed, surrounded by love and angels and those spirit guides while our highest intents. I want you to see if you could bring in an archangel for us, or Jesus. Could we try that?
Gabriel is here.
So Gabriel is here.
He just touched my hand.